It's back to school season in the Central Valley and summertime fun is coming to an end. That transition can be difficult for some students and back to school anxiety may kick in. I'm here today with Dr. Patrick Shea and we're talking about back to school anxiety. Doctor, thank you for joining me today.
Absolutely.
If we can start by talking about what is back to school anxiety.
Sure. So back to school anxiety is very common among kids of all ages, just kind of dealing with that transition from summer, having more free time, spending time with family and friends, to the more structured environment in school. That's particularly true if people are making big transitions from things like, say, elementary school to junior high school, or from junior high to high school, where there might be more complicated class structures and they may not know what to expect.
What are some of the symptoms that a parent may notice if a child were to have back to school anxiety?
So older kids not infrequently will actually express worry about going back to school or be concerned about how much time they have left before they have to go back. Other kids might just seem to start behaving in a way that's more maybe moody or irritable in the days and weeks leading up to going back to school. So I think it's helpful for parents if they can try to sort of figure out what specifically about going back to school is making their child nervous.
What age is going to be affected the most by back to school anxiety?
So in my experience, the single hardest transition is typically from elementary school, which in most places ends around 6th grade, maybe 5th grade, to that junior high, middle school age, where now you have, several different teachers. You're with a lot of different kids changing classes all day long, instead of being in that same group of 20 or 30 kids that you know and having one teacher that you know. Plus those early teen years are just a difficult time developmentally for kids to make that transition. So I would say 6th to 7th grade is probably the single hardest time for a lot of kids.
At what point should parents bring their children in to see a doctor or seek professional help in regards to the anxiety?
Very good question. So as I said, doing some of that work to prepare will help probably 80% or more of kids. If they're still having difficulty, a lot of times the schools are good about working with parents and families. So that would be my next step, would be to talk to the counselor, or many schools around here actually have school-based therapy providers who are used to working through anxiety with kids. Now, if you have a child who is refusing to go to school for more than a few days, or who is having persistent disciplinary problems or not able to pass their classes because of anxiety, that's when I would want to see the child and really get a sense of if we're dealing with a little bit more serious or challenging anxiety disorder. And there's certainly things we can do to help with that in those cases as well. I would say certainly more than half of kids experience some anxiety about going back to school. Now again, for the majority of those kids, things will be fine if they can give themselves an idea of what to expect and maybe learn some basic coping skills. I will say that the social worlds that kids navigate now is far more complicated than 20 or even 10 years ago. And so certainly those things can be stressful. And I think the key there is to talk to your child about things like bullying or online safety, if anyone is bothering them online or through text or those other means. Just, it's helpful if parents think about those things and then you can ask about them, and if it's there, address it.
Very good. Great tips to keep in mind for parents and their children as they go back to school this fall. Thank you for your time, Dr. Shea.
Thank you.